Hey everybody, my name's Chase. Welcome to episode 4 of Greenfield Lane. Greenfield Lane is a saga about a young family that needed a little more room with an incoming baby, so they got a house a little too cheap in the early 90s. So in this episode, I want to skip ahead a few years where the baby is now a toddler. She's bebopping around, she's having fun. So to this point, they've learned to kind of live with all these apparitions, entities, activity. They sunk all their money into this house. It's not like they can just get up and leave. There's not a real estate boom at that time like there is today. Mostly the activity has kind of been geared towards the parents, not the children. So they've kind of learned to sort of live and let live. You know, I see you, you see me. Let's just coexist. We can all get along. No big deal. Leave my kids alone. As we've discussed previously, the basement is in the shape of an L. So it's a winding staircase that goes down, and it's a 180 turn into a windowless, really dark, wood panel, narrow hallway that is an L. So the hallway goes this way and this way. At the bottom of the L here is the garage door. Here's the laundry room. Here's the rec room up here in the top of the L. The rec room has a wider door where you can see down the hallway straight to the garage. So with that in mind, the laundry downstairs, as I'm sure a lot of everyone can relate, they had this phenomenon where no one would match any socks. So they had this giant laundry basket, larger than their children, full of socks. So every morning, the routine at school, you'd go down the hallway as quick as you can. You'd run downstairs, find your best to find a close to matching pair of socks, run upstairs, get your socks on, get your shoes on, you're good to go. One morning, the toddler, the little girl, goes downstairs and she's alone. She goes down the hallway and she's going to go into the rec room to get her socks, but she notices her dad is standing at the garage door. And she walks down as best as toddlers can, and she's communicating, "Hey, Daddy, what are you doing, Daddy? You know, I love you, Daddy," so on and so forth. While this is going on, the father has to go downstairs to get his socks. And he goes downstairs and he hears his daughter talking to someone, calling him Daddy. And she's thinking, that's weird, but, toddler, early morning, who knows? He turns the corner and what he sees is absolutely terrifying to him because he sees his daughter, this 2-foot tall toddler, facing an apparition that he knows isn't there. She's talking to this apparition as if it is her dad. So what he sees a gentleman standing there in kind of 70s garb. He's got khaki pants, he's got a flannel button-up shirt, and he's just facing, his back is to the garage door, and he's just facing into the rec room with just 1,000-yard stare that made absolutely no sense to him. So he's thinking, like, I know no one's in the house. I know this is some sort of ghostly activity, but what I don't know is how do I comfortably pick up my daughter, let her know that's not her dad without absolute panic happening, and get her back upstairs to safety. So he looks around the corner and he says the little girl's name, and luckily she's in a good mood and she's a ray of sunshine, beautiful strawberry blonde hair, and she turns around and she goes, "Oh, Daddy," and bebops down the hallway to her actual biological father, scoops her up, takes her upstairs, drops her off with her mom, says, "Hey, I gotta go get my socks, I'll be right back." So he knows he has to go back downstairs to get his own socks because, again, huge basket of socks, no matches. This behavior frustrates everyone, yet they continue it because they can. His anxiety's building as he's walking down the stairs. He knows he has to make the 180 into the dark hallway. He walks down and he gets to the very corner and he goes to flip the switch to turn on this part, where the apparition was standing. And to his amazement, he was still there, but he was facing the garage door. It's as if he was just stuck in time, just like you're playing a video game and you've paused it and it's just a character standing there facing the door. And he's thinking, man, this is so weird. So he hurries up, he gets his socks, he puts it out of his mind. He said, hopefully this is an isolated incident and none of this ever happens again. Fast forward a couple weeks later, and the two boys, ages roughly 8 and 7 at this point, are downstairs getting their socks, and they notice this guy standing at the end of the hallway, just staring off into space, facing them. And they turn around, they kind of are nervous, but again, they've lived in this culture of this house has a lot of weird things that happen a lot. We're just going to do our business, get back upstairs as fast as possible. And they're digging, in the sock pile, and they grab their socks and they look up, and almost immediately he goes from facing them to 180. He's facing the garage door. They keep looking at him. Boom, he spins around again. Boom, he spins around again. Boom, he spins around again. So he's able to quickly manipulate from facing them to facing the door, facing them to facing the door. And it scares them. And, the hair on the back of their neck stands up. They've got goosebumps. They don't know how to process it. So they start screaming. They run up the stairs. And this whole time they're running, they have that feeling of someone's behind me, someone's chasing me. I got to get away as fast as possible. Of course, one of them trips going up the stairs, causes more of a hiccup. The mom hears all this panic. She goes, "Boys, what in the world is going on down there?" And they say, "There's a guy at the end of the hallway. There's a guy at the end of the hallway." So the mom goes downstairs, and she's panicked now. And she goes downstairs and turns on the light. Nothing there. As blank as ever. And she said, "Well, it must have been your imagination. I don't know." So the father gets home later, and the mother talks to him, and she said, "Hey, the boys were screaming about some guys standing at the end of the hallway down in the basement. Do you know anything about this?" And he's like, "You're never, ever going to believe me. But a couple weeks ago, I saw our daughter down there talking to this entity as if it was her dad. And I scooped her up and brought her up, and I was hoping it was an isolated incident. But clearly this is something that is now reoccurring. He doesn't appear to mean any harm. It's just a little strange to see someone standing at the end of your hallway. Like, what do you want to do about it?" And the mom is kind of distraught. And she's like, "Great, just another problem, with this house." And she said, "I don't know. I guess we leave it alone. Hopefully it doesn't ever bother us, And so for the next decade, every time they would go downstairs to get their socks, there was literally a 50-50 chance of seeing a gentleman at the end of the hallway, either facing them, facing the door, with a 1,000-yard stare on his face. They never found out the history. They don't know who this person is. They don't know what its motivations are. They don't know why it's there. All they know is it's just another check mark of things that make this house way weirder than everyone else's around them. That's where we're going to stop this week. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow, interact with me. I appreciate everyone. I love you all very much. Have a great week.